So I just ordered an ARS-1039 hybrid hatchling rack, and I just picked it up from the shipper at the end of the driveway. And this is how it comes, in a big crate on a pallet. I kind of like the little the little nose stack, fragile thing. It says "Do not stack, damage will occur." And actually there's just a little bit of damage, but it's minor. I didn't even note it on the bill of lading. It's amazing they can pack that whole rack into such a small box. So I'm going to unpack it and show you all the pieces. So stay tuned. Okay, so here's that whole pallet unloaded. I put it here on the pool table, and first impression of everything, I would have to say that everything that I've unpacked and that I've felt is really heavy duty, solid. I mean, these are the steel parts, I assume these are the slides, heavy duty plastic. Nothing that I've seen is really gonna wear out first. It looks like really solid professional build here. I mean, even these casters, these are awesome. So these are the heat panels. You have a big power strip to control everything, all the connectors. Here are some of these go above the tub with the ventilation. These are plastic, and there's a lot of screws right here and some bolts. I assume these are for the casters. Some more stuff for assembly. I unloaded this out in a snowstorm, so everything kind of got wet a little bit. And then a few extras I had. These are the 8-ounce deli cups. I actually opened one up and tried it, and it fits perfectly in there. There's a little bit of wiggle room, but it looks like it's not going to be an issue at all. The clearances are perfect. I also ordered a VE100 thermostat, and I brought a couple tools. The other thing I noticed is this instruction manual. It's going to take me a while to get the first level together, but I see they have a checklist, which is really nice, and they went off. The first thing I was thinking is, oh, I hope they didn't forget any parts, and it looks like a really nice checklist they went through. And then I also looked at, and they have a whole parts description, and here they have the whole assembly instructions. I really love this manual. It looks awesome, laid out really well. It looks like it's really easy to follow with all the instructions. So I will definitely start setting it up, and I'll actually show you where I'm going to put it. So I'll probably start assembling it in here, and I have a little room right by this trash can here that I'm going to put it. And I measured the clearances exactly, so it should fit right in there perfectly. And it'll be my first ever hatchling rack, actually. Okay. So the bottom frame is slightly different. There's 4 pieces with different holes in the rest of them. And they recommend using a rubber mallet. And definitely comes in handy. So you want to make sure the holes are facing the outside. And these are pointing down. So far, pretty easy. Down. Okay. Then the next step is they give you these 4 heavy-duty plates, really thick metal, and these are for the caster. So this is the bottom flipped upside down, and there's 2 ways that you can go, this way or this way, and it says the longest distance from here to here needs to go to front to back, so this is the proper orientation. And then when I'm doing assembly like this, I kind of like to do all the screws loose first, just to make sure that everything fits together before I tighten everything up. Whoop. Let me take that one out. This electric screwdriver is pretty nice because it has different settings on it, and I actually set it to number 1, which seems to be about perfect. Now that I have all the screws in, I can just tighten them up. And I'll go around and do the rest. Now for attaching the casters, and the casters go on here. Now the bolts actually have a little square, and there's square cutouts, so you can't turn them, which is nice. And they're using nylon washers, or nylon nuts. So basically what that does is you don't need a lock washer or any kind of like Loctite on the nuts, which is actually how I would design it. It's pretty nice. You don't have to worry about your hardware coming apart. And again, I kind of like to do everything just loose until I get the whole assembly on. Because if you tighten some up and your holes aren't perfectly aligned, then you might have to go back and loosen some. And if you notice, this is my last wheel, and they actually gave 1 nut and 1 bolt extra. So, which is pretty nice, because I always think, well, what if I drop one of these nuts and it rolls into a heater vent or something, and then I don't have an extra one, and then I'm stuck. So. So this is really heavy duty. It's going quicker than I thought it would too. So that is the end of my base frame, and I'll show you where I'm going to put it here. Remove my trash can, and wow, that is that is really heavy. It glides really nice too. So I'm going to put it right there. That's going to fit just perfect. So now I'll do the next level. Okay, now I also noticed that there are double glides with a little swivel in the middle, and there are single glides without the swivel. And it says to attach a single glide to the side of the tub here. If I can get it. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So there's 2 different tubes. There's the front tube and then the back tube that goes along the front and the back. The front just has holes on one side, the back has holes on two sides. And actually the back, you put on these little stops, and this actually hangs over the bottom, and this will keep the tubs from sliding all the way out of the back. Okay, now at this point, since I have the back tub stop connected, I connect the side tubes to the back tubes with these connectors. Alright. I can do this a little bit better. I almost need to pound it on the floor to get it to go in. Alright. Now at the corners here, whoops, well, there's my screws. The little screws go in here. And this connects the slides from the side to the back. And same with over here. Easier said than done. Okay, I had a little bit of a problem getting these lined up. It's because there's just one screw here and they swivel back and forth, so I had to lift this up a little bit to get it to go in. So the next step is to take the double slides, and these have a swivel too, so you kind of have to watch. And there's two screws there and two screws there that connect the two double slides. The next step is to slide the tops in here, and you want to make sure you have the ventilation holes on the front side of the rack. So remember, the back side of the rack, I had the tub stops. So this is the correct orientation here. And I guess there's a top and a bottom here. So actually, you want this on the top, correct? So this is backwards. So you think about it from the viewpoint of a snake. So a snake wants it completely smooth, and you don't want them rubbing on anything rough inside the tub. At least that's what I'm guessing. This is the first time I've ever assembled one of these, so you just have to bear with me as I go along. So for the final part of the rack here, you want to use the front actually has holes that are towards one side or another. You want to make sure the front is towards the top, and you can kind of align them here. So basically there's screws on each of the slides that can attach the top to it, and you want to then count in the 4 ways here. And I'll go ahead and pound these in and then put the screws in. Okay, so for the last part, I have these little small connectors here that connect the levels. And this seems pretty straightforward. I don't think there's a up or down or left or right. And then this completed level here should fit right on top, just like so. on, mallet. Once you get it on, yeah. You definitely don't want to put that one on wrong. That might be kind of tough to take apart. But make sure you have the front in the front. Let me grab a tub here and try it out. So we do have 3 tubs here. Interesting. Some of the tubs seems like they slide a little better than others. Yeah, it might be interesting to put the tubs in and maybe loosen the middle as we go, because I bet this is over one side a little bit too far. Let me try that. Okay, so I just finished the second level, and I realized that even if you unscrew these screws here, I did all these in the front and the back, and I realized there's really no play back and forth, so you can adjust it to make the tub slide a little bit easier. They're pretty tight in there, a lot tighter than my other racks, but it's not too bad, so they're all really snug. I suppose it's good for that the snakes can't escape. But I can tell you that the second level went way faster than the first level. So now I don't have to read the directions and I can fly through the whole thing. Okay, just a side note that the order of assembly is pretty important. So I jumped ahead and put this front bracket in and then realized after I did it that you can't slide in the, the top, so I'm going to have to pop it out. But it's going pretty fast. Okay, here's another mistake. You want to catch these before you keep going, so I just noticed one of my tubs I have the wrong side up on the lid, so, and I already have these screws in, so I'm going to have to take it apart, pound these out, flip it over. Oh. So I just got my third level done, and I noticed that the tubs are still pretty tight in there. They're not too bad. I can tell it's definitely tighter clearances than a traditional ARS rack. And what I did on one level is I actually unscrewed all these on the top here, just kind of loosened them up, and then played with the tubs, and it looks like there's no clearance, no room to play at all. So this is, I think this is how it's designed, just to have tighter tubs in there. So there's one more thing that we could have been installing as we go, and that is the heat panels. So they will actually install on the back here, and they just kind of slip right in, right there. I know the old version of the ARS rack systems, they actually had cutouts in their heat panels, and it looks like these are actually designed to go right on top of the plastic dividers, so they pop up a little bit, but the tubs fit, and it's perfect. The tubs are setting right on the heat, which is what you want. And you want all the cords on the same side, so you can plug them into the big power strip that they give you with the rack. So that's pretty easy, pretty painless. And the casters are really nice. It slides really easy. So far it's looking really good. So it's coming along really nice. I'm about halfway done. I'm going to have to stop and go feed the cows. But you can see it's fairly easy to put together, and come along really nice. So I just started on the top level, and the top level is almost exactly the same. The only difference is it uses these 3 brackets instead of the 4-way brackets, and that's basically because you want a flush top at the top. So almost done. Okay, so I finally finished setting up the rack, and let me pull it out and take a look. It's 39 tubs, and I actually got some extra tubs on top. I've got a VE100 thermostat, and if you look over on this side, this is all the electrical. So each level is plugged into this power strip, and then the power strip is controlled by the heat controller up on top. And you can take a look at the back. So basically what I did is I took the one probe from the heat controller and I put it on the middle level, and I just took some clear packing tape, packed it right, attached it right in the middle, set it to 90 degrees. That should control the whole stack. And then it slides right in alongside this one, and I actually have a little power strip up here, and I can plug it right in straight from the top. So let me show you. These are the tools that I used right here, and the extra parts. So there's just a few things left over. There's a couple 4-way brackets, and this is a tub stopper that goes in the back of the tub. One bolt for the casters, and then some screws for the slides that was left over. This I used for zip ties to tie the cords in the power strip, and I cut the ends off with that. And I beat on that thing a lot with this rubber mallet. You definitely need a rubber mallet. The screwdriver. Sometimes there's some tight spots, but I got most of it with this. I actually I forgot one screw in the middle, and I went back with the screwdriver and I got that, and then the ratchet for the casters. There was actually some parts missing, believe it or not, and it was this line right here, the Velcro with the gray pad, which is funny because it was verified and it was signed for, and I can show you where that was supposed to go. So, and I noticed it because I was looking at some of these tubs, and it looked like the end of the heat panel didn't quite line up with the tub. And sure enough, right under the ends of the heat panel, there's supposed to be a pad to lift it up flush against the tub, and a piece of Velcro. And that's basically on all levels. I'm sure they can just mail that out to me. It's weird that they signed for it, but they actually forgot it. So that is going to be nice for my hatchlings. I can't even hardly get back far enough to capture the whole thing here. If I go way back in the corner, I can almost get it. 39 tubs. That is a welcome addition to my reptile room. Alright, thanks for watching. Okay, there's one last thing I'd like to show you. When we first started putting the first few levels together, we had a problem with the tub sticking, and I found out that now that I have the whole thing together, that all the tubs are perfect. There's no problems at all with tub sliding. I went through every single tub, and I don't know if it was just not in square when I was first doing the lower levels, but there's absolutely no problems with the tubs sticking now. Even these lower ones, they're perfect. So I'm very happy with it, and I hope this video helped you. Thanks.